When TM International as a concept was developed by Telecom Malaysia, it started even well before I was at TM International. That was an organization which really had a long history. During those days when Prime Minister Tun Mahathir was traveling in developing countries, one of his things that he did, and he did successfully, was to bring technology and bring new ideas to places in Africa, to places in South Asia, and so forth. So as part of that whole journey, Tun Mahathir would say to Telecom Malaysia, why don't you invest in countries like Malawi, Guinea, South Africa, in Bangladesh, in India, in Sri Lanka, and so forth and so forth. So the organization then was literally almost picking up businesses as it went along. So in the first phase of TMI, it was really geographical expansion. In the second phase, which I was involved in, it was essentially figuring out whether that geographical expansion had hit its limit, and therefore it was time to not retreat, but we had a strategy then called closer to home. So assets which were in Africa primarily, TM decided that they were going to divest those assets, and proceeds from those assets were then used to invest in markets like Indonesia, in India, in Cambodia, and so forth. When I was there, it had a different perspective. It wasn't expand, it was expand in markets where we were more familiar with, and in effect it was closer to home. So the next phase of its evolution was to become more embedded into the businesses itself, help around distribution, things around procurement. There was also a big push around people, creating more and more leaders for the organization as the organization continued to grow. So it was less to do with a geographical expansion or reach, but it was more driven by making sure that the assets that Axiata owned clearly were more efficient, and we tried to have a more sort of harmonious corporate and organizational setup as opposed to individual investments in countries.